So what we're going to do now is combine together the section where we did quadratics with the quadratic formula with complex solutions. So just kind of a heads up. What we do is sometimes what we'll use is this letter D for discriminant. And what that is the value that's underneath the square root. So if we were to consider if we're square rooting negatives, well then we're going to get imaginary answers. And so sometimes what we do is we just look at b squared minus 4ac, and what we can do is quickly determine if we're going to get imaginary roots or real roots. And the benefit to this is knowing whether or not you cross the x-axis. So anyway, just a reminder with the quadratic formula that the a value is 1, the number in front of x squared, b value is negative 4, and c is 29. So I can find these x-intercepts pretty quickly. Well, they're not x-intercepts, these solutions to the equation by using the formula. Negative 4 when x squared is positive 16, minus 4 times 1 times 29, all over 2a. Just using the formula up here. And what you want to make sure that you do is what's under the radical first. So if you're using a calculator, just a reminder that if you don't know negative 4 is 16, then you have to put it in parentheses. So that minus 4 times 1 times 29. So we're looking at the square root of negative 100. Which with the square root of 100 is 10, but with the negative you have to have an I in there. And what I like to do is have students actually just divide each piece by 2. And it makes the problem a little bit easier. And you get 2 plus or minus 5i. So what does that mean is you have two answers. One is 2 plus 5i, and the other is 2 minus 5i. And you can check your work with your calculator, although I don't think I've shown you any of these tricks yet. But what you can actually do is, I don't know if you need parentheses because I've never actually played around with this. But if you hit second the dot, it actually does the imaginary value for you. And you can store that in for x, 2 plus 5i. And you can actually type in that equation, what was it, x squared minus 4x plus 29, and it gives you 0, which right now it might not make any sense to you. And I'm not sure if you can just drop those parentheses, but you can store in 2 minus 5i and do the same thing, and it gives you a value of 0, which is what we wanted. That's how you can tell that you have the correct answer. I don't think I'm going to check any more of my answers now, but we're going to practice the same thing. And as you recall from previous sections, we had to get the equation equal to 0 in order to do the quadratic formula. So we've got to subtract 7x and add 10 over to cancel those out. So we're looking at x squared minus 12x plus 40. So if I do the quadratic formula on that, and hopefully you have this memorized from previous sections, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And yeah, just remember to do what's under the radical first. So you get negative 16. So we're looking at 12 plus or minus the square root of negative 16 all over 2. And again, I would expect students to know that the square root of 16 is 4, the square root of negative 1 is I, and then just divide each piece by 2. So the answer I'm looking for is 6 plus or minus 2i. And you can leave your answer like that. So moving on to the next one. And again, feel free to pause the video, re-watch it, or write down your questions. But you'll see that the very first thing I do is subtract terms over because I want the equation equal to 0. So I could use the quadratic formula. And then from here, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared. I hope you know 36 is 6 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So again, just doing this, 36 minus 44, that's what's inside the radical. All right, that's negative 8. And this time, what I would want students to do is simplest radical form that 8 down. Think about when we did that before. Is 2 and 4, and then 2 and 2, where if we have a pair of 2's, we can write it in front. So we're looking at negative 6 plus or minus 2 root 2, but again with the negative, you need an I in front. And then I would also ask you to divide each piece by 2, which if you remember from earlier sections, you just do whole numbers with whole numbers. So that's why this answer is negative 3 plus or minus I root 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. There we go. So this is where we're getting into the x-intercepts. So if we were to ask you for the x-intercepts on this problem, that would be setting the equation equal to 0. It's a reminder that the x-intercepts are when y equals 0. So if you go through that process and set the equation equal to 0 and use the quadratic formula, so x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So 36 minus 4 times 1 times 13. All right, that's negative 16. Which I know that the square root of 16 is 4. But because of the negative 16, it's got to be I. And then instead of having all over 2, I actually prefer dividing each piece by 2. So 3 plus 2i and 3 minus 2i. Just dividing whole numbers with whole numbers. So algebraically, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because we don't have an imaginary axis on this graph. But we're going to use a calculator. As a reminder, you don't actually need a calculator because remember we did the vertex x equals negative b over 2a. So the vertex is going to be at 3, and we can find the vertex by plugging 3 in for your x's. So that would be 9 minus 18 is negative 9 plus 3 is 4. And with an a value that's positive, since a equals 1, it's an upwards u. And I know the y-intercept is 13. So very lame graph, just kind of putting it down, opens up like this, has a y-intercept at 13, because that's my c value, but you could also confirm that that's correct if I use a graphing calculator. Just remember, hit y equals x squared minus 6x plus 13. And a few benefits to this is not only do you see the graph, but if I hit second graph, I could see several values going from negative 4 to 6 and how it opens up just the way I said it was going to, with a vertex at 3, 4 right in there. So here's the situation, and what you need to understand is that there are no x-intercepts. It never crosses the x-axis. And the reason why that's okay and why it's validated by this is because we had imaginary roots. So the thought process is, if you're going to get imaginary roots, then you're not going to cross the x-axis when you graph the curve. Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to get at. So here's the thought process. Is we can actually just look at the discriminant. So as a reminder, I'll put this in a blue color. The discriminant is only what's under the radical, b squared minus 4ac. And what it shakes out to is we have 3 situations. We could either have a positive discriminant, a negative discriminant, or a discriminant of 0. So if I look at this, and as a reminder, I should change colors. A is 1, B is -3, and C is -10. Well, if I use that in the formula, remember -3 squared is +9, -4 times A is 1 times C is -10. That's great that that equals 49, but all I care about is that it's a positive number. And the thought process is, if I go back to the formula, maybe I'll go back a slide real quick, is if we square root and we get a positive number, we get two answers, because if you add or subtract the square root of 49, you're going to get two different numbers. So what does that mean is that, first of all, it has x-intercepts, but it has two x-intercepts, two real x-intercepts. And the reason why I like to point out that they're real is to distinguish between the fact that they're imaginary. So if I go to the next problem, again, just working it out, b squared, so b is 6, so 6 squared is 36, minus 4 times the a value is 1 times the c value is 10, 36 minus 40 is -4. What I care is that that's less than 0. So think about if I asked you to square root -4, and I'll actually write it down. The square root of -4 is imaginary. So what does that mean for the x-intercepts? So it does have two imaginary solutions. They just don't cross the x-axis. So there are no real x-intercepts. And then the next one, again, b squared, so 3 squared is 9 minus 4ac. So I believe that's 9 minus 40. I don't really know what that number is. Maybe it's -31. I really don't care. I just care that it's negative. The square root of -31 is imaginary. So that means there are no real x-intercepts. There are two imaginary solutions, just they're not real, so they don't cross the x-axis. So if the next one, basically it's just going to shake out which one has a discriminant, is the discriminant negative. So you could try every single one of them, see what works. You could actually work it out. 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times a times c. Well, here's the thing is, we're just going to get a positive there, 25 plus a number. So that's going to give me two real solutions. That is a number bigger than 0. Same with the next one. -1 when you square it is +1 minus 4 times -1 times 6. Okay, we're going to get a positive number there. And if you don't believe me, try it with a calculator. We don't want a positive. So the next one, 4 squared, -4 when you square is +16 minus 4ac. All right, well, 8 times 5 is a number that's bigger than 16, so we will get a negative. That's the one that does not cross the x-axis. And you can confirm with the next one that it does. -13 squared is 169. 4 times 3 times 4. I don't really know what that number is, but I do know it's bigger than 0 because 4 times 3 is 12, times 4 is 48. 169 minus 48 is bigger than 0. It's bigger than 100. So that's the overall theme. And be ready to have some pretty good questions in here. I know that first one doesn't seem too daunting, but they need you to make the connection for the graph as you get to the last piece here. So again, you should be ready for the homework now.